Phase 1 of Klever Blockchain Validator's program is finally launching. What do Validator candidates need to do in order to compete in Phase 1 of Klever Blockchain's Validator program? Task 1. All validators should complete the registration form and join our Discord server. For the completion of the form, you're required to create a Klever Blockchain address. Task 2. All validators will need to run a hardware that meets the following minimum requirements, although stronger hardware is always welcome. CPU with 4 cores, RAM with 8GB, SSD with 200GB, an internet connection speed of at least 100 MB, Linux or Mac OS. This can be physical machines, but it is recommended to run a cloud machine on your favorite cloud provider like AWS, Google Cloud, or Azure to ensure reliable node uptime. Once you have your hardware in place, then create your Klever blockchain node as shown in the documentation at docs.klever.finance. Task 3. Now that you have your Klever blockchain node up and running, let's make sure it stays that way with some proactive monitoring measures. You're free to use any monitoring tool of your choice, but let's ensure it shows all the metrics you need. Task 4. Now it's time to share your Klever node experience with everyone. Complete a written blog post sharing this experience with the entire Klever community. Task 5. Nearly there. Now let's share your experience via Twitter. Simply remember to tag @Klever_IO and add the hashtags KleverChain and Klever Validators. We will release a form to collect all of the above information and provide a ranking that we'll share with the global Klever community, which will allow the KLV community to get insights into the progress of our Validators program and the Validators' achievements. May the best node win.
Hi everyone. Today, it's a sad day in world history, marking the commencement of the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. I pray for my brother and Klever's head of graphic design, Dima, who resides in Ukraine's capital, Kiev, and of course for his entire family's well-being. I have unfortunately been through more than 6 wars during my time living in Israel. It's a horrible experience. There's nothing like it. The fear during rocket sirens, rocket blasts, and the constant threat of violence and uncertainty is with you all the time. And my prayers go out to the Ukrainian people during this difficult time. We considered canceling this event due to the ongoing situation in Ukraine. However, we at Klever believe it is important that we do not give in to fear and terror to stop our daily lives. Our guest today needs no real introduction, but I will give you one anyway. He is one of the best known traders in all of crypto and has a huge following due to his consistency, his deep insights, and his humor. 360 Trader has over 30 years experience in finance, investment, and trading. During his 20 years in the military, he spent 10 years teaching and training. During the dot-com era in the 90s, 360 launched a trading company called The Optimist Trader and became a major force in stock market education and trading. Over the years, he has lived all over the world and traveled in Saudi Arabia, Germany, Turkey, Italy, Spain, Afghanistan, and Mexico. The financial world is where he became self-taught and ultimately conquered through trial and error, the Klever way. As part of 360's self-study, he immersed himself in all things related to investing and trading, and by creating his own elite trading strategy, 360 honed the necessary skills to not only survive, but to thrive in all markets. May I introduce you to our friend 360.
What's going on, Misha? Thank you so much for having me here, man. I really appreciate it. You guys in Klever doing this. It's like you said, it's a somber it's a somber time right now, with Russia invading Ukraine, and it felt heavy this morning. And I'm in agreement with you. I'm glad we are pushing forward and doing this, this little fireside chat. I think it's important, for us to keep going. My thoughts, my prayers are with the people in Ukraine, and the civilians, and just it's a heavy time. And I think right now the world is watching and waiting, and there's a lot of things that are up in the air, but we must continue and do what we do. So thank you again, Misha and Klever, for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thank you, 360, for coming on. Last week, we had some medical issues. Now we have some other kind of issues. But like you say, it's very important that we continue our lives, and especially during times of uncertainty, that we also deliver more insights, more training, more education, and more unity in a really fractured world right now.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Last time when we canceled, I had the sore throat. We have that Texas winter storm that came through, and then not but a couple of days later we were in the 70s. People got sick real quick, and now we're back in the. Uh, and I know people are making fun of me right now because I know people live in much colder places. So when I say things like we just got 4 inches, I know there's people out there that got 20 inches. So it's all perspective. Us Texans aren't really used to that. So, cold for us may not be cold for some people, but yeah.
I'm always baffled when I see snow among my Texan friends, and it's just crazy to think that you have such blazing hot summers, and then you have this like crazy winters coming in as well. I'm really impressed because I come from Sweden, and I grew up with winter with snow, up to my ankles at least, and sometimes even my shoulders. But you guys get some serious storms out there.
Yeah, we can go years without snow and ice, literally years, and then all of a sudden, like last year, we got rocked, and as you remember, it was a big power grid shut down. A lot of people. I mean, we had to house quite a few people in our home because there was nothing, no heat, nothing. So you have elderly without heat, without the ability to cook. So that occurred last year. This time, the power grids held up quite nicely, and most people, if they don't know, we have a lot of Bitcoin miners here who are actually working in tandem with our government, and have agreed to shut down mining if needed to release stress on the grid. I mean, it's just it's an impressive merger of the Bitcoin mining core people working with, as it should be, society in general, and it's working as it should be in Texas. And so I love that aspect and
Yeah,
how
that
that
is.
played out.
It's truly staggering and fascinating to see it happening in real time. We've been talking for many years about like how Bitcoin miners throughout the world can help energy grids to offload and kind of intensify their energy production during certain hours, and just seeing it happening in Texas as more and more miners just migrate into this kind of Bitcoin bastion, especially for mining, and with Ted Cruz and others from your state really pushing Bitcoin adoption and even buying Bitcoin themselves. I'm very excited for what's happening in Texas. I'm happy to come out there soon to meet you, of course, but also to see what's happening in Bitcoin in Texas.
Say when. Come on down. Come on down. I'll take you to the stock show and rodeo. We can do some Texas barbecue. Come on down. I got you back.
Amazing. I'm also looking forward going to Brazil after COVID and everything to our team and entire clever family. Most of not I would say most developers are from Brazil, but not all, of course. Global staff. We're more than 160 in the world right now, and many of from South Korea to the West Coast. Literally the entire world is clever. But let's jump into you, because I know most people know who you are clearly, right? Good morning, coffee, arbitrary lines. We love it. We follow everything that you do and everything that you bring to the space. But let's get back a little bit to the beginning. to the origins of 360. So who is 360? Where'd you come from? How did
Yeah.
you grow
So
up? And how
awesome.
has your
Awesome.
origins influenced your journey in crypto and trading today?
Yeah, awesome. And before I go into that, let me just say real quick, I've been seeing the chat go up. Thank you guys for joining us. Everyone that's on right now, thank you all for being here, for joining us. We love each and every one of you. I could see the comments. I mean, I appreciate the support for both myself and Klever as well. But so 360, this is who I am. You know, the same person I portray in everything that I do. This is me. This is who I am. You know, I don't put out a persona that's not me. Everything you see is how I am in life. That's just how it is. I'm extremely sarcastic, sometimes to my own detriment. I'm always upbeat, very upbeat. I'm very rarely ever down. Obviously, today is heavy. I feel that deeply, as we talked about, you know, with my prior military experience. But real quick, what is most people have no idea like why 360, why the name 360. 360 for me is about self-efficiency and self-reliance and the ability to be the whole person, a whole person. It's the whole person concept. It's the ability to not live life with blinders on. It's the ability to be able to see everything and respond accordingly to those things and live life in that manner. I was actually born in Vermont, so I do know what cold is, but I haven't really lived there for very long because I'm a military brat as well as being in the military. My dad was Air Force, so long before I joined the military, you know, I had the opportunity to travel the world everywhere. That was back in the day when, you know, you didn't live in a place. If you were in the service, you didn't live in any area longer than maybe 2 years max, and you were gone. So I picked up and moved all the time by nature of my father being in the service. And there's good things about that, and there's bad things about that. The bad thing about that is I was never able to. A lot of my friends have friends they've been friends with for their whole life. Why? Because they've been there their whole life. They've been in those towns or in that country or in that state their whole life. And so they have these lifelong friends. I don't have that. Like I can't point to somebody and say, this has been my friend since childhood, because I picked up and moved every 2 years. So life changed for me constantly. And so I had to always, even as a kid, I had to adapt. I had to overcome. I was never able to settle into a school. And so that's just how it was. And so you either got depressed or you adapted very fast and learned how to adjust to a changing lifestyle and to living in worlds that you're not familiar with, in an environment that you're not familiar with. And so these things that, you know, having to sacrifice lifelong friendships for these other things that I learned, to me, was worth it, because it's made me the person that I am today. I have because now I am settled. I have incredible friendships. I have an incredible outtake and view on the world as a whole, much bigger than if I was confined or, you know, I only know Texas or I only know North Carolina. I have a much broader perspective on the world and humanity. I feel like I do because I've been able to travel and so on and so forth. So and then of course I went in the service. I went in the military myself. I did not have money to go to college. As a matter of fact, I do need to put this out there because this is a major thing that my parents did for me that I'll never forget. And I couldn't let them do it. When I was trying to figure out what to do when I was 17, my parents actually signed. They couldn't afford it. My dad's enlisted in the service with 3 kids. They actually signed off on a loan for the first semester to an aviation school. I wanted to be a pilot. I had no money. They signed off on this loan, and I'm gonna tell you, this loan for just the first semester was outrageous. And they signed off on it, and I was a week from leaving to go to this school. And I couldn't let them do that. I could not let them take on that debt. I literally, I couldn't believe that they did it. For me, it was an amazing gift. You know, there's gifts in your life that you'll never forget. You know, this was one of those things. This is one of those turning points for me where I realized you know what? My parents have done everything that they can for me. It's time for me to stand the frick up and pave my own way and pave my way. So they wanted to go in debt for me, and I could not allow it. I could not
That's
allow it. So,
that's really
I
inspiring.
joined the service. I joined the service, and I loved all 20 years. And I went in the Air Force, and right now a lot of people are going, "Oh, you went in the chair force. You went in the chair force, so you really didn't do anything." That's just not the case, because I actually went in as a security force member. So I was the ground pounder of the Air Force. You know how that goes. So I was boots on the ground in a lot of operations early on, even in the early 90s. Kobar Towers and Dahran. I was involved in that. I was involved in the evacuation of all of the U.S. civilians from Saudi Arabia during the violent times over there in the Gulf War, and so on and so forth. And then Afghanistan, I've done it. I've been there. Like you said, I spent 10 years teaching. That's where I get my, I've always wanted to lead and teach. As far as the security force career field goes, I'm not a guy. I don't love pulling people over and getting them tickets. Because as security force members, also the military cops, I don't enjoy that aspect. I didn't enjoy responding to domestics and handling husband and wife issues. I remember going into one domestic, and the husband had slapped his wife, and so I'm in there and I'm arresting the husband, taking him out the door, and the wife jumps on my back and starts clawing at my face because I'm taking her husband. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that I had to deal with. I mean, it just is. It's just so that wasn't really the stuff that I enjoyed from security forces. What I did enjoy from security forces when I began to lead troops. And I spent 10 years as an instructor. I taught at the police academy, and then I taught boot camp, and then I went back to my career field and had the opportunity to lead troops in Afghanistan and so on and so forth. And that was my calling. That was my niche, to be an instructor and to lead. And I loved all 20 years, and it went by like that. And I hope I haven't been blabbering. I feel like I've been going on and on. I hope this explains a little bit about my background and where I came from. Now, I've been in markets long before I retired from the service. I've been in the market since my early 20s, my very early 20s. And look, I'm going to tell you something. I have degrees. None of them are in economics. None of them are in finance. None of them are in any of that. I have, criminal justice. I have a teaching degree, and then I have a bachelor's in sports and rec management. Everything that I do and that I'm good at with finances and with investing, I have taught myself. When I first got married, my wife worked at Applebee's, and I was in debt. Like, I was in debt. I wanted everything my parents had at an early age, and that's the mistake of young people. So I went out and got all this stuff, all this garbage, TVs and speakers and sound systems and all the hocus pocus that doesn't last very long. It certainly didn't outlast the credit or the debt that I put it on. And I got into a trouble. And once I got married, I'm like, oh, I got to fix this to provide a life for my family. And so I literally every night, after work, after I got off of my shift from the military, and my wife was working at Applebee's, I went to Barnes and Nobles. This is how I started. I went to Barnes and Nobles, and I sat my butt down in their nice, cushy, comfy chairs, and I read every stinking book I could on mutual funds, investing, getting out of debt, how to find the best insurance. You name it, I read it. I ingrained myself and I immersed myself in it. And I started from there, and I just started to build and grow and develop and learn. And I did it on my own. And my parents were the impetus of that. Getting married and having no money was the impetus of that. And everything that I'd been through in my life was the impetus and the driving force behind the person that I am today. All of that was created who I am. And I love every single moment of it. I hope that answers the question. I don't know if that's too much or what. I don't know.
I personally think that, first of all, thank you for sharing that. I think a lot of people in your community and people who follow you on social media and through your 360 trading alert, they don't really know these things. And I think it's amazing that you come with such, open book personal story. So, and it's very inspiring as well. So I do, that's a very personal effect on the military. I want to hear a little bit more on like the military discipline and the global experience you have, having lived throughout the world in so many different war zones, conflict regions, as well as, of course, probably peacekeeping missions. How does this background propel your understanding of the market?
I mean, ultimately, you realize two things. The world is much larger than you thought, and the world is much smaller than you thought. And what I mean by that, and I'm going to put that in context, is when you finally begin to travel and you move outside of your norms, in which, of course, as you know, I did my entire life, you realize just how vast humanity is. You realize just how big this world is. But when you realize how connected we are, when you realize how, I mean, similar we are as humans, you realize just how small that is. And, cryptocurrency is redefining that connection in a new way. And so for me, being my experience in the military and my experience with my travels taught me those things as far as the globality of humanity. But also there's something I took from the Air Force that I love, and it's their motto is integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. And that has stuck with me. I've used that. I try to use those three principles in everything that I do and everything that I say. I'm not always successful. I'm not always successful. I've failed, but these are three things that I take with me, I carry with me, and I try to embrace, and I try to live by. And that's, I'm going to say it again because it's important. Integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. And I think those three things, they really just, is there anything better? That's just, for me, is a good thing to live by. If you don't have a model, you don't have anything as your guiding principle, those are three great places to start. So, and discipline. Obviously, if you didn't have discipline before you joined the military, you're going to get it, and you're going to get it quick. And then having to instill that through training and teaching. I taught boot camp, for crying out loud. Here's the funny thing. When I got off the bus at boot camp, when I joined the military, I was standing there and I'm like, I'm a man. Look at me. And then when I became a boot camp instructor and I saw these people get off the bus, I was like, who are these kids? These kids are what? These are kids. Like, their long hair. And I'm like, somebody come get these kids and take them back home because they just ain't gonna make it. So the perspective there, getting an opportunity to be that, and then to receive them and mold them and make them. And I'm gonna tell you, when I graduated the flights, parents would come up and be like, I do not know who this person is. Like, this is not my son. My son was nuts, or my daughter was this. Now look, I've never seen anything like that. So that is that's a gift that I have that no one can take away from me. The opportunity to mold, make, and they're not me. It's molding and making them so that they can be them, but have these disciplines and these core values, and move in those core values to be who they are. The military, and that's the thing, the military, you can get caught up in being that military cliche, or you can use the military to make and create the person that you are. Because I'm going to tell you something, the military will use you, and most people stop there. They stop there, but the military gives you an opportunity to use them. I didn't pay a dime for my degrees. I didn't pay a penny, and I left with over 80 grand that I was able to give my kids towards their college. So people complain about the military pay. They complain about this and that. I never had to pay for a gym membership. I never had to pay for you know what I'm talking about. So, people love to blame who they are on their outside circumstances, man. Screw that. Create and make your own circumstances, regardless of what's happening around you. And that's how I live. That's why I'm 360. And that's just how it is.
Fantastic. Amazing. I'm going to give you some time. Warren will pop you a link so you can share with your community as well. Meanwhile, we're going to announce two giveaways. One is the trading course from 360.
Let's do it.
$2,500. And there's so many requests from you guys throughout the world about Klever merch. So we thought, how about not give away 10 t-shirts to our amazing community around the globe? So here it is. All you have to do is subscribe to the Clever Finance YouTube channel and comment something lovely below. And may the best clever person win. There's 10 t-shirts in place. Matthias got them holding for you guys. And in the end of and in the end of the show, we'll also announce the winner of the $2,500 worth of elite trading course with 360 himself. None other than 360. Let's jump in to what you talk a lot about, Bitcoin super cycle. So maybe you can get deeper a little bit on Bitcoin super cycle and black swan events, or you call them a little bit different, and maybe you can dig deeper on that for our viewers and how you view that.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks. Black swan, I say X factors, because there's black swan, there's white swan. Tesla buying Bitcoin and we got a 10K candle in a day, that's a white swan. But they're all what I call X factors, or these things that just wham hit you right in the face. And obviously, what we have happening right now is it's a global black swan event, one that we're watching, play out right in front of us. So here's the thing. I spent for those of you that have not, most have seen or watched my pinned tweet. They know what my theory is like from the beginning of the cycle that I posted in January, not of this year, but the year prior.
And guys, I have to say, if you haven't listened to the pinned tweet, it's like from last year in January, I believe. You guys have to go and do that, but not now. Do it after the show. Yeah. Sorry, continue.
No, good. So the thing about crypto is it's evolving. Okay, it's a progress. It's evolving. It fluctuates. It changes, and we have to be able to ebb and fluctuate with that. That being said, that doesn't mean we ignore the past. So I spent a lot of my time digging knee deep into everything that I could that would explain or describe the cycle of Bitcoin. And when I say the cycle of Bitcoin, and I'm not saying anything else, is because everything else swings from the pendulum of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the daddy. I don't care. You got people all the time talking about when they separate finally, and well, that day's not here. Okay, you can look at the watch list, and you can see there's been no separation. Your alt swings from the pendulum of Bitcoin. You can shut up all the rest of that nonsense that people keep talking about. It's not here yet. Might it come someday? Maybe. Today is not that day. So Bitcoin is the King Kong. It is the daddy. It is the ruler of all of crypto. So when we talk about cycles, we've got to get knee deep into what that is. And I don't want to get into a study of the halving and all that and trying to explain that. That's a whole nother hour worth of work right there. But we have cycles that we can look at, that we have looked at, that we've gotten knee deep into, try to understand the swings of price action and when cycles move, how long they move for, based on the halving event, and so on and so forth. So I've spent a lot of my time studying those pieces of the past, and now we're in the current. So we're trying to apply that study to this one while watching for changes, while watching for shifts, while watching for advancement, while watching for winds that change, that are not the same. We're trying to do all of that. And again, that's why I'm called 360. It's not easy. Okay. It's not an easy task to keep up with everything and always be involved in data. And of course, we have this is now the cycle of on-chain data, which I love. On-chain data, it's not perfect, but on-chain data gives us a real world look at what is happening beneath the current with wallets and whales. And there's a number of things that you can look at with on-chain data. And to ignore on-chain data is to go ahead and slap blinders on, like horses with the blinders, and only see. And we have a lot of chartists that are doing that, a lot of technical analysts that are doing that, and they're not willing to look at anything else.
If you guys, sorry, I just want to comment. If you guys want to follow a few really good on-chain analysts, you have Will Clemente, you have Dylan Leclerc, and you have also Willy Woo are some of the absolute best ones out there. Sorry, go on.
Yes. So it's as far as black swan events, we're always looking for that. Right now, what are our black swan events? We have the invasion of Ukraine. We have obviously inflation, which
we'll get to that one.
which we knew about when the printer was printing. We knew that was coming. That's just how that works. So we have all of these things that are now, remember, inflation numbers are really lagging. They're really lagging because you knew they were coming based off of what was happening before. So we're starting to see these effects globally. We're seeing commodities and the price of goods, of course, skyrocket. You have inflation, you have commodities taking off. If you go look at the charts for soybeans is just absolutely like this. Looks like it's going parabolic. You got wheat taking off. You have copper hitting highs. You have precious metals going nuts. I mean, so it's a very interesting shift in the financial dynamics of what's going on in the world. So now we're trying to apply that data to cryptocurrency as it's happening. So it's not easy. It's certainly not easy. And for everyone that is doing it, I praise you. I give you a hand clap. Whether you're right or wrong, you're on Twitter, you're doing this, you're knee deep in your research. You have a ton of haters, but let me tell you something. I love you. Keep doing what you're doing. Block out the haters. They don't have the nuts to do what we're doing. They don't have the oomph, the drive, the passion to get knee deep in. They want to blame somebody else. So to all the people that are knee deep in this market, in the global market, that are trying to give valuable information, man, I applaud you. I applaud you.
Amazing. I love it. About the giveaway, guys, it's a hoodie and 2 t-shirts. So that beautiful hoodie that we all got in the Klever team right over here can be yours as
I
well.
love it.
And 2
That's
t-shirts are
awesome.
going out. And what you guys do to get in on it is follow this channel, and after the video, after the fact, after it's done, that's when you comment. This is the live feed comment. Afterwards, you have to have your name there, and you can get either a hoodie or 2 t-shirts. But let's talk more about inflation, because as a political economist, for me, that's really where Bitcoin and crypto comes in to kind of heal the wrong, especially as you were talking about what's been done to the US dollar just in, last year. We're talking about 40% increase in the monetary supply. Absolutely outrageous. So how do you see it? Bitcoin versus rampant inflation. How do you see Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation?
So great question. And we're going to take a line from the 300 and the Spartans. We're going to put that to the test. All right. Right now, crypto is putting inflation to the test. We're being tested as we speak. So this is something we're actually getting to watch play out. And we're going to see what happens. How is Bitcoin and crypto as a whole? But Bitcoin, of course, is the focal. So we're going to see how that responds. And a lot of people are already saying such and such, but I think it's a little too early right now. And I'll give you an example. Right now, you can see that there's a correlation between Bitcoin, cryptos, and the markets, the stock markets, the legacy markets, because we're seeing a lot of tandem trading. And what we're seeing is a lot of risk off. So we're seeing, based on global news, global reports, based on the war in Ukraine, based on inflation numbers, we're seeing some risk off. And we're seeing what's happening here is a lot of the new players that are new to crypto. First of all, it's a very risky area anyway that's full of volatility. So we're seeing a lot of people that were in stocks, the traditional finance, that are new to crypto, and they're trading crypto like they were trading stocks. They see it as a risk asset like tech stocks. And so in the way that they're unloading their tech stocks, they're unloading their crypto. However, those that have been in crypto for a long time, now we're talking about your long-term holders, your whales that have been in it forever, are not doing so. And we have on-chain data to back that. As a matter of fact, since the crash of May of last year, that 50% nosedive, after we had some whale distribution, and we had that 50% dive into a 3-month accumulation consolidation, from that point on, even through this dip, the illiquid supply of Bitcoin continues to climb. So we have an environment underneath the surface where your OGs and the people that know what crypto is and what crypto can be are not selling. They're not selling, they're holding. So yes, we have some of these short-term sellers from different type of investors who are used to stocks, and we're seeing them unload based off of inflation. We're seeing them unload based off the news from Ukraine. We're seeing them unload based off of economic uncertainty. I'm waiting to see, and this is playing out, so we still have yet to see if there is, in fact, once that's done or that's finished. And as you know, if you look back in history, the beginning of a war and leading up to a war, there's always a dip. But very quickly after things are already in, what has happened to price generally? Usually you do see a climb, you do see a rise in price. So I'm very interested to see where that bottom is going to be and then where that shift in mentality takes place. And how do the supply dynamics, and as we said, the supply of Bitcoin is very low because the liquid supply is very high. However, it's the demand side that is lacking right now. And what I told my followers is you're seeing defensive buying. So you're seeing defensive demand, but there's no follow-up aggression where you're chasing that price. There's none of that. So there's no FOMO buying, but there is, based on on-chain, there is defense. So, the price is coming down and boom, they step in, but there's no follow through. So it's the demand side right now that it's lacking and that is low. It is not a problem with the supply. And I'm interested to see how that shifts and changes as we move forward and past what we now already know, Russia attacked Ukraine, and those things are priced in and factored in. So we'll put it to the test. That's the best I can say. We are putting it to the test right now.
Fascinating. Thanks for sharing all of your insights. Let's get into a little bit more on what happened in Canada, where crypto and Bitcoin was used for somewhat of a freedom movement. And how do you see crypto as a tool to achieve greater individual and societal freedom from outside influence?
I mean, Canada is great, but who better to point at than El Salvador? I mean, really, you got the IMF. You got the IMF telling them that, this is naughty. Don't do that. This, that, and the other. And so this is just one example of a nation embracing that as something valid. And so here's my theory moving forward. My philosophy moving forward is as you begin to see we're already seeing the devaluation of currency. We're seeing, if you can't see it, you're blind. But I believe we are beginning to see a global movement where currency and the devaluation of currency and currencies failing is becoming much bigger than it ever has in the history of money. This is what is happening right in front of us. While that's going on, don't look over here, but here comes crypto. Okay. So the alternative is there. The ecosystem exists. It's ready. I mean, it's literally, so people aren't going to have a choice but to shift or move into that. And of course, we can begin a massive discussion into CBDCs and government of currencies, which are being built and constructed. I'm going to say this right now. I wonder how many of our listeners have actually read the Fed's report on the future of money in the US. I wonder how many, because it's released and it's public. It's a public document. You can go read it now, right now. Now it's long, but if you go read that report, you can read between the lines and you can see that CBDCs are coming. Digital money is here to stay, just like music went digital, just like Blockbuster and Hollywood video went away. That is the future of fiat, is digital. So the shift is here. We have to wait and watch. And unfortunately, that means the following. You have to ride the roller coaster. You want 1,000% gains? Welcome to the roller coaster. Because those 1,000 to 10,000% gains do not come without volatility. So you want to gripe and complain about the volatility and the dips, but you want those. You can't have one without the other. It just doesn't work that way.
You can't go from here to here without the bumpy ride. That's something
right.
that has been clear.
It used to be where when I first started reading Barnes and Nobles, it was go buy the S&P 500 index fund. Back then, you could only put $2,000 a year in your IRA, put $2,000 in it, and by the time you're 70, you're going to be rich. Okay, crypto changes that. It changes that. The problem is nobody wants to wait 3 years. Like nobody wants to wait 4 years. They want it now. They want it now. I'm like, dude, are you an investor? You're investing. Okay. We're not even talking about having to wait 30 years. So you have to be able to stomach what comes with the market that is crypto and the black swan events, the global picture, the global economic system. You have to be able to stomach that. That doesn't mean you, just because Russia invades Ukraine, that doesn't mean you take your portfolio and you go, wow, I'm out. And unfortunately, and I hate to say it like this, but these situations bring opportunity. They bring opportunity. Because you get discounts, you get to buy things when they're cheap, when everyone's afraid. That is how it works. It sucks that there's war. I hate it, but that's how things work. You buy low, you sell high. I mean, that's how it works.
100%. And guys, before we continue to the next one, make sure you post your questions as well for 360, and we'll get to them in the end of the show. Before we continue, CBDCs, I call them the mutant child of blockchain. And I think it's super interesting to see how private cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ether, Klever, and many others, are allowing people to be anonymous, advancing their financial freedom, giving them investment opportunity, gaining financial literacy, while CBDCs using blockchain to create an entire system of surveillance, of control. How do you see that?
Just like you just said, that's exactly what's coming. When it comes to a country's currency, I'm not talking about crypto and that, but when it comes to CBDC, where they create these central bank digital currencies, it is 100% about surveillance, control, and power. And if you can't see that, you got problems. I mean,
open your eyes.
The days of cash under the table, the days of cash stored at home in your safe, those days are going to grow shorter and shorter and shorter until eventually it will be a cashless society. Of course, I would, if I had to take a wild guess, I'd say 5 to 10 years. I could be way off because at the rate things are progressing right now, it's faster than I originally imagined. But that's what's coming. Do I think that they will coexist? I do. I do believe that CBDCs and cryptocurrencies and so on and so forth will coexist. However, this is an evolving thing, so we have to see what kind of regulations come out. But we're already seeing good things for Bitcoin. I mean, other than the few minor places that have banned it, we're already seeing tons of states in the U.S. that are getting ready to go ahead and legalize it as authorized for use as currency. I mean, we're seeing other countries start to come on board. So we're already seeing an acceptance of Bitcoin and so on and so forth throughout society. It's being accepted at more and more places for transactions. So we are seeing adoption increase and that rate increase. So I do believe there's going to be a coexistence, but I am interested to watch how that pairing works. Obviously, the IRS is going to get theirs. They already are. And those type of factors that come into play. But there will certainly be a coexistence of CBDCs and cryptocurrencies. Now, how many? I don't know. Obviously, not all of them. But that's what's coming. And you hit the nail on the head. CBDCs is about one thing: centralization of power, not decentralization. So you have Bitcoin and most cryptocurrencies that are geared towards or trying to be decentralized. And you have the introduction of, hey, we can be digital and centralized.
Unbelievable. Using a technology developed to advance decentralization, using it from state actors to further centralization. The irony is quite large on that one. Let's get back and into something very interesting, of course, and that is Klever. We know you're in KLV due to your many posts about it, but how did you find Klever and KLV, and what does Klever mean to you?
So I was actually introduced to KLV back in the first leg of the cycle by actually a follower on Twitter. And I went and did some research and looked into it. And by the way, we actually successfully traded KLV many times on the way up, very quality. I mean, but for me, if I was completely honest, the one thing that I love about Klever is quality, quality, quality. Everything you guys do, everything you guys put out is top notch. I mean, from the simplest things, your website is pristine, it is clean. Your app is insane. I mean, you guys put out, there's a lot of alts that put stuff out and it's, trial and this, and you're like, oh, yeah. And they'll say, oh, but we're going to improve. We're going to do that. We're going to do that. You guys put out quality. I mean, I'm going to tell you, everything you guys touch is like gold. It's there's a sense of professionalism. And that's something that's lacking in a lot of altcoins, in a lot of the crypto space is that professionalism from the team, the quality of their product, and that they do what they say they're going to do, sometimes even ahead of time. And here's one of the key factors for Klever. Y'all's community is one of the most non-toxic, loyal, incredible communities that I have seen in a very long time. And let me explain something to you. There are other cryptos that I love whose communities I do not, because they just have turned into a coagulation of just garbage. So these are just, we haven't even got into your tech, man. Like, we're just talking about the things that are the foundations, should be the foundations of what makes a crypto great. And your guys' roadmap. This is the other thing that I put out, and I keep telling people, especially during markets like this. When markets are bearish, when markets are bleeding in red, pay attention to the cryptos that are putting out the work. Pay attention to the cryptos that don't hold their releases. Pay attention to cryptos that say, no, we need to wait. We need to wait and take advantage of the bull market. Those are the cats that are playing with the price and care about the price. And that's their concern, is the chart. You guys, your roadmap, you guys are ahead of schedule. You're on time. You're putting out things that you should, and you never stop growing. That's the word, ecosystem. You guys have an ecosystem. You're not just a one-trick pony. You guys have an incredible ecosystem. You guys had your test net, your main net's coming. You guys, you have a massive staking program, which I would love for you to talk about so that people can understand that a little bit better. There's just so much I can say. I don't even know where to start. You guys have so many things going for you, and you have. Oh, here's the other thing. And most people, I don't know how many people know this. Probably everybody in the community does. You guys have done this without venture capital.
Indeed.
Without venture capital. Now, I know you have pre-sales and some of those other things, but most, to get to where you are, have raised millions in venture capital. That puts you light years ahead of the game. You guys already have your own exchange. You're light years ahead without venture capital. I do not see a top. I do not see a ceiling, and I'm always looking for that. When I do my research and my homework into other altcoins, I'm always looking for the ceiling. And what I mean by that is, is this it? Like, what else? Like, some get there and they seem to be waiting. Like, they're just, okay, we're here, and they're waiting, like nothing else is happening. Wait, that's your end game. So that's it. But you guys' roadmap, the sky's the limit for y'all. So this will be a great opportunity, I think, Misha, for you to talk about some of those things that you guys have coming out with the NFT marketplace. If you're willing to actually go into the staking, I'd love for you to put that out, especially for my followers, so they can hear a little bit about that and the things that you guys have coming down the pipeline.
Fantastic. First of all, thank you so much for all the love and support, and clearly understanding what Klever stands for as a project and as a community and as a tech company, even more than a crypto company. And let's pound through them. So Klever Chain is coming. We're just the weeks, months away from mainnet launch. Validators are already running in phase 1. It's unbelievable to see how many people are interested, how many people are pushing, and the community is building.
This will be big. This will be big.
It will, because what are we trying to do with Klever Chain? We're trying to simplify blockchain building. And that is might be something that a lot of people say, but no one really does right now. In order to build an app on top of Ethereum, Tron, or Binance Smart Chain, and any other smart contract blockchain, you need smart contract experience, and you need developers with that kind of experience, and those are quite rare. And it's very vulnerable contracts with a lot of audits and security issues, as you clearly have seen. We're talking about billions of dollars in hacks and exploits. In Clever Chain, we remove the smart contracts, but keep all the features and triggers for them. Meaning that if you want an NFT with royalty, if you want your coin to have staking, if you want to create anything on top of the chain and simply have a trigger like a loan or collateral, you just click on that feature being provided by the Clever Foundation. That is built by the community and by community developers. And I think that will be an absolute game changer in the years to come, because it will be more like Strike, where you build an app with ready-made features already, which means that
Yeah.
anyone can build. And that's really, we're trying to democratize blockchain building.
Yeah. Okay. If I can interrupt, let's just say it like it is. There's a learning curve with most alts, and some of it, when you start getting into smart contracts, a lot of people aren't tech savvy and don't have any skills. And so there's a massive learning curve. And based on what you were just saying, and that's the other thing that I didn't mention that I do like, is you guys erase the learning curve. You guys really take the learning curve out, and you make everything user friendly and very simple, so that literally anybody can do it. And I'm going to tell you right now, the cryptos that survive have to have mass appeal. How do you have mass appeal? You have to be usable by anybody that jumps on there. And I can relate that to, there's some, I'm not a gamer. My kids are gamers, like they're gamers. So they'll be like, yeah, Dad, let's play this. And they'll give me the controller. And dear God, the controller itself has 30 buttons on it. And they're like, they're changing their weapons, and I can't use it. Like, I literally am clueless on how to play. So I'm always getting killed, always getting smoked. And that is, if you translate that into what you're referring to, you're taking all of that frustration out of the process. You're making your apps, everything that you guys do, you're making it very simple, very easy. And I love it.
Yeah, that's really all we stand for, and education is super important. That's why we have so many writers, and we're putting out videos and education and these live sessions, of course, to make sure that everybody stays up to date and understand why it benefits them to be in crypto, why it benefits them to use our products. And, you were talking about the NFT marketplace. We have an absolute beast in Felipe Rieger, who's the head of our Clever NFT. He works with an amazing team on the exchange and the NFT, which essentially makes a multi-chain platform for all NFTs on top of Clever Exchange marketplace. And it also incorporates another product of ours, which is one of our most used products, which is Clever Swap. It's inside of the wallet, where you literally have 300 different trading pairs. It's our own swap engine, where we don't use any third-party providers in anything we do. It's all own code, built in-house by our own tech team. And I think that also lends a lot of stability, security, and credibility.
Credibility. Yeah.
Exactly. But what's cool about the NFT marketplace is that you're going to be able to, if you want to buy something in ETH, you can actually pay in BTC or USDT or KLV or TEL. I know you love TEL. You'll be able to use any of
That's
the
not a game.
swap. Who knows? So you'll be able to use any of the coins available in swap to pay for any NFT, independent of what chain it is on. And I think
Yeah.
that's exciting.
Misha, I'm going to give you your biggest compliment I've given you guys, and it's coming from the heart. I love Tell. Your community is better than Tell's. I said it. I literally just said it.
Big
It is.
compliment.
It is. When I compare the communities, yours is. I love to Tell. I love Tell. I actually do love the Tell community, but your community, as far as their the way they treat each other and their loyal, I mean, it's different and it's better.
It's inclusive.
There you go. Yeah, that's how I would definitely define it that way. For sure.
And just to pound off a few more products for your community and for our community, clearly to
Yes.
understand. K5 is coming. The 5th version of our wallet is coming, and it's an absolute monster. We're completely reinventing what a wallet experience is and making it so much simpler for the
Yeah.
millions of people and billions of people coming into crypto. And it's all based off of Klever OS, the operating system that Dio and the guys built, which is an SDK that anyone will be able to tap into. And it keeps our entire ecosystem uh, intact, making blockchain building just so much simpler, so much faster, and so much cheaper. That's
Yes.
the point. If you need to hire specific developers for specific purposes, you're doing things wrong. You need to
Yeah.
be able to build and invite the millions and even hundreds of millions of amazing Web 2 developers who don't know anything about Web 3, but they can't build on Web 3 today because they have the tools and built an amazing ecosystem of Web 2. But we need to take that knowledge and power them and empower them inside of the Clever ecosystem with Web3 and the SDK.
Yeah, Clever, one-stop shop, baby. I mean, one-stop shop. I like that you guys are. I love that you're in NFTs, and if you're not if you're not some way have your hands in NFTs or the metaverse, I mean, what are you doing? What are you doing? We can see that those two niches now are just going to be. I don't even think we've scratched the surface, to be honest with you, to the capabilities of NFTs. That's what I'm saying. Crypto evolves so fast. We have DeFi and DeFi, and then boom, and NFTs and meta. I mean, it's such an evolving market, and I love that your head is in the game, and that you guys are also looking at everything that's happening, and that you guys are evolving your ecosystem to not only be here now, but adapt, overcome, and be here 30, 50, 40, 50 years from now. I love that. I
We
love that.
we don't think in months or years in Clever. We think in decades,
Yeah,
and
that's
we're
brilliant.
building an ecosystem, an infrastructure that can automate is that can stay alive by itself as an organism simply by its decentralized nature. And Clever Chain, of course, will lend a lot of power to that ecosystem. The last thing we're going to talk about is Clever staking. Right now, 74%. Yeah, 74% of all KLV is staked by the community.
Wow, I think last time I checked, it was only at 60. So you guys are rocking and rolling.
That's what
Wow.
we do. You got to provide the opportunity, even when things are going downturn in the market. Like you were talking about, you came
Yeah.
in on the upswing, right? But there's been a correction in the entire market. But even that, you can make money. Why? Because you have a passive
Yes.
income that just
Yes.
keeps on getting.
Yes. If you are a holder and you have items, especially during red markets like this, and you're not staking, you need to reevaluate. You probably reevaluate what you're doing. You should be staking, whatever you have. I mean, Clever, you guys, your people are doing it, but obviously your numbers are showing that. So your community is already on board. But yeah, for sure, just because the market is down, that doesn't mean you stop. I always tell the people that follow me, I dance with the bulls and I do business with the bears. That's one of my slogans. We all like to party when everything's going up. Everybody loves everybody. What? Everybody's in love with everybody. And then when the markets are bloody, everybody's at each other's throat. Well, I'm busy expanding and building my portfolio. I'm busy expanding, growing, figuring out what else I can do. And staking is one of those key components of a 360 mindset, and making things work for you while you're waiting, while you're sitting there patiently waiting for the market to reverse. So yeah, money, you just hit the nail on the head. Love the
Amazing.
staking, man.
So before we jump into the last question, before we pop into the community questions, I got to give a shout out to Marcelo Sosa, who is our head of hardware engineering. He runs an amazing team from Fortaleza University, where they're building the Clever hardware wallet. The name is still secret, but it's pretty amazing in its simplicity. But what's cool about the actual hardware wallet? It's only got two buttons, and it's connected to the Klever 5. So all you have to do is be able to use your wallet interface, not your little ledger or your little treasure or little, everything can break. It's all about usability. And suddenly a hardware wallet becomes as usable and as flexible and as versatile as a hot wallet. just with the security of a hardware wallet. So if anyone wants to check it out, of course, you can go to the website and check out the hardware wallet. It's a crazy squad. They're building some insane stuff.
Love it, man. This is brilliant.
So before we top out, 360's top 10 tips for new crypto traders.
Top 10, man. We're gonna be here for like 3 hours. Let me give you a few. All right. Let's do this. All right. So first of all, you have to identify whether you're a holder or a trader. I do the 80-20. So 80% portfolio is hold, 20% is what I trade with. You have to make that decision for yourself. So you have to identify what you are. If you are in fact a trader, the very first thing is most certainly risk management. 100%. 100%. You know, everybody wants the step 1, step 2 chart. Everybody wants that. They want the, but they don't want to do the really important stuff. And the really important stuff is most certainly risk management. And that involves loss prevention. That involves preservation of your capital. It involves determining how much of my available capital do I invest on a trade. All of those things are risk management and loss prevention decisions. Now, check it out. I can't give you mine because your risk tolerance level is not my risk tolerance level. Therefore, the way you play the game is going to be a little different than the way I play. The amount that you put on a trade is going to be different from the amount I put on a trade. So people that are out there and they want to do exactly the same, it just doesn't work that way. Every personality is different in what they can tolerate and what they can't tolerate. So you have to design that portion of your trading to who you are as a person. Don't try to go against that. If you can't handle a certain level of risk, don't take the risk. Why? Because if you lose, you're going to be destroyed. Some people are destroyed anyway because they shouldn't be trading because they don't have the mentality for it. That's a whole nother ball game right there. Emotions.
That's number one. And then, risk management.
Yeah, risk management, loss prevention. 2, have a strategy with rules. And that leads into number 3, which is the emotional aspect. So I'm going to involve the two together. So my system of momentum and trend trading that I developed came from, and we could talk about this forever, so I'm going to try to keep it short, came from over 30 years of working other systems, working through systems, trying this, trying that, throwing 1,000 indicators. There's another mistake. Throwing 1,000 indicators on the chart and just getting wrecked after wrecked after wrecked. And then eventually backing up, getting some help from some actual professional traders, getting my head into researching before I get my hands dirty, and then formulating and finalizing something that is simple, that is a simple strategy that works, that I can follow rules. Very important, because if you don't follow rules and you're trading off of your emotion, you're out there flapping in the breeze. And that leads to, if you get up one day and you just had a fight with your partner, you probably shouldn't trade that day, because it is going to play into your trade. If you get up and you're depressed, you probably shouldn't trade that day, because it is going to overlap into what you're doing. Anything that you do, even if it's not trading, it's going to affect you at work, and that includes trading. So trading while you're emotional, or while there's something, will take you away from your rules and cause you to take more risks that you shouldn't take, or do something because you have a gut, whatever the case might be, versus following the plan. And so emotions are a big part of that. Understanding when you're emotional, when you're not emotional. And then I would say, I'll just make this the last one. Start with price action. Okay, this is what everybody wants to do. Ooh, look at this pretty indicator. And they throw that, and this one, and this one. And by the time they're done, there's 1,000 indicators. Now, some people are out there, yeah, but 360 Trader, you post charts and there's lines, and there's lines everywhere. Well, they don't understand that all those lines they're not necessary for me to place trades. All those lines is because I'm an older person, I'm a visual person, is for me to see instantly price action areas of buying and selling, supply and demand. That's why they're there. They're not there because I think that it's going to hit this or hit that or whatever the case might be. So a lot of people see my charts and they aren't able to interpret them correctly because they're my charts. They're taken out of context and they don't understand them. So that's the funny thing about that. Just because I have a lot of lines, those aren't indicators. They're merely areas of supply and demand. So I would tell people to understand price action. That is the actual what is happening between buyers and sellers. If you can tell me that this is look, there's a shoulder, there's a head, there's a shoulder. That's a head and shoulders. No, wrong. You're an idiot. Just because you recognize a pattern and you can see that pattern does not make that pattern so. There are dynamics of market. Volume rules must apply. Price action rules must apply. Where the shorts and longs taken out on that last shoulder. There's so many other pieces. There's people, ascending pennant. Okay, that's nice that you can see that's an ascending pennant. Now explain to me the dynamics of this ascending pennant, what's happening with the price, the battle between buyers and sellers, and then place that in context with the trend that's in, with the next higher time frame that's in, and so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. Understand price action first. Get rid of all the indicators. Most of my charts don't have them. Volume is not an indicator. It's a statistic. It's not an indicator. It's a statistic. I don't care what TradingView calls it. It is not an indicator. Volume is a stat. It is a stat. So you'll see a lot of my charts. They'll have lines, and we have the meme. The 360 meme is arbitrary lines. I love it. I've adopted it. Somebody posted. I was like, yeah, that's mine. I'm keeping it. I don't even know who posted it at the first, but I took it. It was a hater. It was probably a hater, and I was like, I love that. I love that piece of hate. I'm gonna take it. So arbitrary lines is one of those things you'll see. People are like, hey, what does this line mean? Oh, I'm like, it's arbitrary, man. I just throw it up there and see if it sticks. And of course, that's not the case. There's a reason. There's a reason why it's up there. But I've just been rambling. I feel like I've just been rambling. I don't even know what we're talking about.
No, at all. You just rambled a lot of useful information to our entire community and your community. So from the bottom of my heart and from all of us at Klever, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your massive experience and your deep insights and your unbelievable knowledge about not just trading in crypto, but also the world. So thank you.
Yeah, Misha, thank you so much, man. You are top notch. I'd like to thank your entire community, all of your staff at Klever. I mean, your whole community. Thank you guys so much. I've been looking at the comments as they come through in chat. I just really appreciate the support from the people here watching, observing, and thank you so much, Misha, man. This was an honor, it was a pleasure. I'm thrilled to have been able to have this time with you, especially during the time that we're in right now. I think, we are who we are. We need to keep doing what we're doing and continue to try to make this world better than it was when we got here.
100%. And right before we go, we're already way past time, so we won't be able to get too many community questions, but we'll get one, and we'll take question 3, Warren. Okay, so you can put that one up on the screen, and that is, are you a sword fighter as well? We see a massive sword over there. What is that? What's the story?
Yeah. So awesome. I stored it there. I'm in a temporary place. We're actually building our home right now, so I'm in temporary lodging until our home's finished. But so it's literally there to keep it out of the moisture in the garage. I didn't place it there so it could be on this episode. But that is actually a sword. It's a Templar sword. It's a real Templar sword, and I say real because I actually purchased it in Toledo, Spain. And as you know, Toledo is known for being the blacksmiths who made the best swords from the medieval times. They were one of the premier sword makers. So it is actually an authentic Templar sword. It's a wonderful, wonderful piece. I love that I have it. If you go there, you can get them for literally a third of the price that you would have to pay if you were to buy this sword in the United States or somewhere else. It's like way more. So I was very lucky to have been stationed in Spain for many reasons. But the sword, now that you brought it up, I have never sword fought with it. I do know that it's authentic because they teach you the test. There's a test, to check whether a sword is authentic. And it's called the kick test. You hold the sword by the handle and you literally just heel kick the blade. And that whole blade should literally vibrate like, well, not quite like that, but it should. I don't even think it makes that sound, but it does make a sound and it does vibrate. If it doesn't vibrate, well, you basically have a piece of metal that's going to shatter in war. It's got to have that resiliency and that. Here I am rambling again about a sword. Thank you for the question.
Well,
that was easy.
Amazing. I'm crazy about military history and all archaeology. So for me, that's just fascinating. When you told
My pleasure.
told me earlier that it's a Templar sword as well. We do have two things to announce. One of them, of course, will be your. We'll take that afterwards. Your 360 Trader Elite Course winner for $2,500. But before that, we've actually increased the amount of merch. It's going to be 10 packs. Okay, 10 people will win this. It's one hoodie each, one white t-shirt, and one black t-shirt for 10 people. So guys, go in, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, make sure that all your friends do it as well. Post it on Twitter, post it on Facebook, post it on LinkedIn, wherever you are, and make sure to comment on this video once it's done, right? Not in the live feed, but in the comment field below. And now for the announcement of the actual winner of your Trading Elite 360 course. Let's see who it is. Jeroen de Bier. He's a long-time Klever community member, a massive supporter. Congratulations. You will be working with 360 and understanding all the insights from the man.
Wow. Wonderful, man. That's just brilliant.
Well, thank you, everyone, for tuning in, despite the horrible events throughout the world. And as 360 said, it's important that we stay who we are and we continue to push not just adoption, education, but also our values, because that's really what defines us. So until next time, stay hungry,
Love you guys.
be clever.